Joshua Cheptegei is one of the most talented distance runners ever. He might not have been present on our TV screens winning Diamond Leagues every week like Jacob Kiplimo, but his domination of the 10,000 metres on the track from 2019 to 2024 was unquestioned, proving a worthy successor to Mo Farah and Kenenisa Bekele before him. With 3 world titles and an Olympic gold in the event during that time, a further Olympic gold in the 5,000 metres, and world records in both distances, Cheptegei was the closest thing we had to a sure bet in championship finals on the track. But even as early as 2022, the cracks were starting to appear. Even though he could always be relied on to get the job done in his favoured 10K when it really mattered, he was already struggling to remain consistent across the season, finishing 9th in the 5K at World Champs that year. In 2023, things got worse again. He started the year by losing his world cross-country title to compatriot Jacob Kiplimo, only just making it onto the podium after a sprint finish with Kenya's Geoffrey Kamwara. The passing of the torch to Kiplimo as Uganda's top distance runner then appeared to get even closer at the New York Half Marathon the following month, where Cheptegei was again beaten by the younger man. Back on the track, he failed to win either of his Diamond League races that year, finishing 4th in Florence and 2nd in Lausanne, before lining up at the World Championships in Budapest. While he did manage to secure his 3rd 10,000 metre title there, the physical and mental effort clearly left him drained as he pulled out of the 5,000 metres and finished his track season right there. Which brought him to the announcement that he would make his marathon debut in Valencia in December later that year. In many ways, it seemed like a strange decision. He might have had a mixed season, but he was still the best 10K runner in the world, and likely the only man capable of beating Ingebrigtsen over 5K at the time. He clearly still had more to give. Furthermore, his record when he had attempted half marathons had been underwhelming. 59.21 for 4th place at the World Half Marathon Championships in 2020 and 62 minutes in New York in 2023 hardly gave confidence that he could transfer his track pedigree to the roads. The reasoning then has to have been about one of 2 things: motivation or money. While major marathons do pay far higher prize money and appearance fees than track meets, it is unlikely Cheptegei was doing badly from his Nike contracts for running on the track. The likelihood is therefore that the decision was more down to motivation. It must have been difficult for Cheptegei to stay motivated to continue winning the 10K on the track, especially as he already held the world records in the 5 and 10K. It's also likely he would have been inspired by Eliud Kipchoge, with the legendary Kenyan putting himself in the conversation as greatest distance runner of all time through his marathon performances, despite having much less success than Cheptegei on the track. Greatest of all time was not yet a conversation in which Cheptegei was being considered, and perhaps he saw the marathon as his ticket to it. But his marathon debut in Valencia could not have gone much worse. He showed his ambition by going through halfway with the lead group in 60.35, but faded badly, finishing in 2:08.59, all the way down in 37th place. 2024 tracked much the same for Cheptegei. He was poor again throughout the season, but he returned for one last hurrah on the track at the Paris Olympics, winning gold in the 10,000 metres, before promptly announcing that he would not start the 5,000. And from there, 2025 has been all about the marathon. He was much more conservative in Tokyo, splitting 62.09 through halfway, before finishing 9th in 2:05.59. And just last weekend, he progressed further at the Amsterdam Marathon, going through halfway in 62.17, before finishing 5th in 2:04.52. This still seems a little underwhelming, and the obvious conclusion from seeing him beaten in a second-tier marathon race in Amsterdam is that he would be better off returning to the track. Track misses him, with the balance of power in the 5K since he left it swinging firmly in favour of the 1,500 metre runners, with Ingebrigtsen and now Cole Hocker winning every global final since 2022. Even in the 10K, the traditional dominance of the East Africans is being challenged, with Jimmy Gressier upsetting the odds to win a tactical race at the Tokyo World Championships. But as much as I might want to see him return to the track, it doesn't look likely to happen anytime soon. Cheptegei appears 100% committed to the marathon. For an athlete of his calibre, however, he needs to see significant further improvement. To enhance his CV at all, he needs to be running 2:01 or quicker, with Olympic gold, major marathon wins, and another world record the only possible achievements that could see him climb the ladder of greatest distance runners of all time. So why has Cheptegei failed to deliver the results so far to back up his pedigree? His compatriot Kiplimo has taken to the marathon far better. He ran 2:03:37 for second on debut in London, then got his first marathon major win at only the second time of asking in Chicago earlier this month, running under world record pace for the first 35 kilometres before fading at the end and finishing in 2:02:23. But Kiplimo does appear to be a slightly different athlete to Cheptegei. Both have top-class endurance, but Cheptegei is perhaps a little more suited to kicking hard in the last lap of a track race, whereas Kiplimo is a little stronger and more durable. This does seem like a sweeping statement, as Kiplimo has shown speed on the track, even outkicking Ingebrigtsen over the Norwegian's preferred distance of 3K, and won Commonwealth Games gold over both 5 and 10K in 2022, outkicking top Kenyans in the process. Similarly, Cheptegei has shown strength on harder races than 10K track, with his World Cross Country title in 2019. But Kiplimo proved himself far more on the roads before stepping up to the marathon. He set the half-marathon world record twice, most recently in January this year when he ran a mind-blowing 56:42 to break the previous mark by nearly a minute. He won the half-marathon world championships the only time he raced it, as a 19-year-old back in 2020, and has won the last 2 world cross-country championships, beating Cheptegei on both occasions. The better reference point for Cheptegei's marathon potential might then be Mo Farah. Farah was Cheptegei's predecessor in the 10K, winning every global 10,000 metre final from London 2012 to the 2017 World Championships, where an up-and-coming Cheptegei placed second. Both then chose to step up to the marathon after a 5-year period of dominance on the track, and like Cheptegei, Farah also struggled. He made his first appearance over the marathon before retiring from the track, placing 8th at the London Marathon in a modest 2:08, very similar to Cheptegei's debut in Valencia. And after stepping up properly in 2018, his times that year closely tracked Cheptegei's, although he did have more success, running 2:06:21 for 3rd place in London, and then winning the Chicago Marathon in 2:05:11. That remained his PB, as he struggled to 5th and 9th place finishes the following year in London and Chicago again, before attempting to return to the track for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, ultimately missing the qualification standard. It could just be then that Cheptegei, like Farah before him, is physiologically slightly better suited to explosive kickdowns at the end of track races lasting 30 minutes or less, compared to the long, sustained, moderate efforts required over 2 hours plus to win marathons. That is not to say that he won't succeed at the marathon. You can never count out a man who has run 26:11 over 10K, and the gradual improvement he has shown in 2025 does give some hope that he can be competitive in the marathon. And it would be great for the sport if he could. The marathon is looking very much like becoming a battle between Kiplimo and Kenyan Sebastian Sawe after the results of 2025. While that in itself is a great matchup, adding Cheptegei to the mix would make for some amazing races. And we might just get another chance to see Cheptegei line up against Kiplimo as early as January next year. While it looks unlikely that either athlete will compete on the track again, Kiplimo recently confirmed that he will be back in January 2026 to defend his World Cross Country Championships title in Tallahassee, USA. With Uganda needing all its best runners to compete to have a chance of beating Kenya in the event, and this likely to be the highest profile cross-country championships of recent years due to it being held in the US, Cheptegei might just be tempted to join his compatriot on the start line. There are so many storylines in that race and in 2026 to come. Please remember to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with all of those great races as they happen. And let me know in the comments below how you think Joshua Cheptegei will fare in future. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you in the next one.